All right, so this last weekend, a friend of mine calls me up and says, hey, Jason, you should come over and work on some minis and hang out. And I'm thinking that's a great idea. So I start putting together the pieces that I need. I get my case to put the things in, I get my tools, I get my minis, and I'm thinking, whoa, this is an amazing video idea. So I says to myself, let's make a video about it. But rather than do it at home, why don't we do it at your favorite local gaming store? And that's where we are today. Okay, folks, so once again, thanks for joining me here at All About the Geek. I am your host, Jason, the Tyrant Director, and on this channel we do reviews, how-tos, and tips and tricks videos just like this one, where we're going to be talking about the top 5 tools you need for your hobby. So basically what happened is, the story I told just at the beginning is true. I was heading over to my friend's place, and as I was getting my tools together, I thought, what pieces could I not do without? And that's really what we're going to talk about here. So the very first one is not something you can actually get at your FLGS, and that's light. Well, maybe you can, but the key thing is that you need a decent light if you're going to be working on miniatures. And usually I say something in the daylight range, so around 5,000 Kelvin for that. It tends to be a nice neutral light, a nice neutral white light. They often come in maybe more amber or more blue tones, usually warmer or cooler, they describe them. So anyway, light is important. The next thing you need is a case. Okay, so number 4 on the top things you need is a case, and I've got a couple of samples here. We've got the small little one, and we've got the big plastic cases, and we've got the foam cases, and then over there we've got like the battle foam boxes. Now you don't need to have $1,000 worth of battle foam to protect your minis, but you should use something that is going to preserve all that hard work you're about to put into it. And whatever it is, whether it's bubble wrap in a toolbox, which a buddy of mine used, or some hand cut foam that you're putting back inside the box you originally started with, that all works. Just make sure you do something to protect the hours of investment you're going to be putting into assembling and painting your miniatures. All right, item number 3 on the most important list is files. Now there's a sample here of just some small needle files. Unfortunately, my FLGS is a little short on their file selection at present. But the key thing here is there's 3 files that I feel that you absolutely have to have. A triangular file, which is great for getting into the tight corners, especially when you're dealing with sharp 90-degree type angles. A round file for dealing with larger areas. The round file means you're not going to get quite as much grab at a time, but it's nice, say a Space Marine shoulder pad, when you're filing away a mold line. Nothing better than a good round file for that. And the last one is something that's a little bit wider that you can hog material down on when you're trying to get 2 surfaces to meet, or you're filing down a base or something like that. It's just a nice wide flat file is, I think, a really critical piece. So when you're looking at your files, those would be the pieces that I would suggest you look at. All right, our number 2 item that I think is important is your hobby knife. And so there's an example there, and that one looks really comfortable. Here, coming into frame, right there, that is the GW hobby knife. And while it doesn't look like it's currently in production, this might be one of the last ones that's kicking around out there. I think they replaced it with their hobby saw as a whole. It is not nearly as comfortable as the one right up here. That thicker handle is a bit rubberized, and it's going to feel better in the hand. Now, when you're looking at a hobby knife, the big things that I highly recommend are something that's easily replaceable with the standard X-Acto blades, just because they're cheap and readily available. So realistically, either something like this or something like this. And if you have to, you could go to something like you would find at a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby. That's just kind of your basic knife where you screw off the bottom bit, and you can go ahead and then add in a new blade. The number 1 most important tool in your kit is going to be your side cutters. So this is your example right here. The plastic frame cutter here from Army Painter looks like a solid set. It has all of the features that I would really point at. It's got a fairly narrow tip, sharp angles for getting in tight to the sprue, and a comfortable handle. I personally have about 5 or 6 sets of side cutters, some of the classic GW yellow handled ones that are still in good shape because frankly I have made it clear that the emperor helped the Patak who decides to use my plastic side cutters to cut metal. That's just not done. It's like using fabric shears to cut paper. Punishable by death. Everywhere you go, 100%, no mercy. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you liked it, jam that thumbs up button. If you are not subscribed already, I encourage you to subscribe so you can catch some more footage. This is my first attempt using the GoPro that's coming with me to Comic-Con, and so if you want to see all the footage that I'm going to have there, I highly recommend that in addition to subscribing, you jam that notification icon and get alerted whenever a new video goes up. But that's it. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, remember to work your wonk and keep it geeky.